She called him defective at dinner, then the waitress signed. You're perfect as you are. You're not even a real man. Her voice cut through the restaurant's gentle murmur. I could never be with someone so broken. Ethan Rivera's head jerked involuntarily to the left, once, twice, his signature tick firing like a betrayal. His hand shot up to touch his ear, a compulsion he couldn't stop even as every eye in the restaurant turned toward them. Defective, she said, standing now, her chair scraping against the floor. That's what you are. Defective. He wanted to speak, to explain, to defend himself. Instead, his throat made that sound, the one he hated most, a sharp vocal tick that sounded like a bird's cry. And then, across the white tablecloths and crystal, someone moved. A black waitress with tired eyes and a knowing smile. She didn't look away like the others. She looked right at him and made a gesture, 2 fingers to her temple, then to her heart, then opened her palm toward him. You're perfect as you are. Her brother's code. The one only people who lived with Tourette's would know. Hello, my beautiful family. Welcome back. If this is your first time watching one of our videos, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Stick with us till the very end. And if this story moves you, drop your thoughts in the comments and share it with a friend. Now let's go back to where it started, 6 hours before everything changed. Ethan Rivera stood in the server room of Belmont's restaurant, his fingers flying across his laptop keyboard. Lines of code scrolled past, green text on black background. His head twitched to the left. His shoulder jerked up. He ignored both. The restaurant's reservation system had crashed 3 times this week. The owner, desperate, had called Ethan's company. Fix it tonight, they'd said. We have a full house tomorrow. So here he was at 5 p.m., surrounded by humming servers and blinking lights, doing what he did best. Making broken things work. His phone buzzed. A text from his mother. Don't forget dinner Sunday. Your father wants to talk about the engagement. Ethan's jaw clenched. The engagement. To Jennifer Wu, daughter of his parents' business partners. A woman he'd met exactly twice. A woman who smiled with her mouth but not her eyes when his tics appeared. He typed back one-handed, still coding with the other. I'm not marrying Jennifer. We've talked about this. 3 dots appeared immediately. We've sacrificed everything for you to have a good life. This is how you repay us? By embarrassing us? His head jerked. Hard. The tick was always worse when he was stressed. Another text. Your condition is manageable. Stop drawing attention to it. Jennifer's family is willing to overlook it if you make an effort. Overlook it. Like he was a stain on a shirt. Something to ignore if you squinted hard enough. He pocketed his phone without responding. By 6:30 p.m., the system was fixed. Ethan packed up his equipment, sent the invoice, and was about to leave when his phone rang. Ethan. Thank God. It was Devin, his college roommate. Please tell me you're free tonight. Devin, I'm exhausted. I know, but dude, I already told Ashley you'd come. She's bringing her friend. Just dinner. 2 hours. That's it. Ethan's head twitched. You set me up on a blind date? It's not a blind date. It's for friends having dinner. Does she know? Silence. Devin. Does she know about my Tourette's? Ashley knows. I'm sure she mentioned it. That's a no. Come on, man. You can't hide forever. And Madison's cool. She works in marketing, loves hiking, super chill. I'm not hiding. I'm protecting myself from exactly what's about to happen. What's about to happen is you're going to have a nice dinner with nice people, and maybe, just maybe, you'll have a good time. Besides, you're already at Belmont's. We're meeting there at 7. Table 15. Just stay. Ethan looked down at his clothes. Black jeans, button-down shirt, nice enough for a restaurant. He could go home, spend the evening alone with his code and his thoughts. Or he could try. His therapist's voice echoed in his head. You can't let fear make all your decisions, Ethan. Fine, he said. 2 hours. Then I'm out. That's my boy. Ethan had 20 minutes. He went to the restaurant bathroom, checked his appearance. Brown hair neatly trimmed. Brown eyes. His father's strong jawline, his mother's high cheekbones. Everything looked normal until his head jerked left, his face contorting briefly before settling. He practiced his breathing exercises. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. It didn't stop the tics, but it sometimes reduced their frequency. At 6:55 p.m., he went to the lobby. Devin appeared with his girlfriend Ashley and another woman. Madison was exactly what Devin had described. Blonde, athletic build. wearing a navy dress that probably cost more than Ethan's entire outfit. She smiled when she saw him, a professional smile, polished and perfect. "Ethan, Ashley's told me so much about you." She extended her hand. He shook it. His shoulder jerked mid-handshake. She noticed. The smile flickered for just a second. "Here we go." They were seated at table 15, a corner table with a view of the city lights. The server appeared, a young white guy with slicked back hair who looked like he wished he was anywhere else. "Good evening. Can I start you off with drinks?" Madison ordered wine. Ashley ordered wine. Devin ordered wine. Ethan ordered water. "Just water?" Madison asked, her voice light, teasing. "I don't drink," Ethan said. "Alcohol makes my tics worse." The table went quiet. "Tics?" Madison asked. Devin jumped in. "Ethan has Tourette syndrome. I thought Ashley mentioned." "Oh." Madison's face changed. Not disgust, not yet. Just calculation. "I think she said something about that." She hadn't. Ashley looked guilty. The server brought their drinks. Ethan's head twitched as he reached for his water. The glass wobbled. He caught it before it spilled. "So," Devin said, too loud, too cheerful. "Ethan's a software engineer. Genius-level stuff. He built an app that—" Ethan's throat made the sound. The bird cry. Sharp and sudden in the quiet restaurant. A woman at the next table looked over. Madison's smile was frozen now. "Sorry," Ethan said quietly. "It's a vocal tic. I can't control it." "Of course," Madison said. "I understand." But she didn't. He could see it in her eyes. The way she leaned slightly away from him. The way her hand moved protectively to her wine glass. Devin and Ashley tried to carry the conversation. Asked about work, about hobbies, about anything. Ethan answered when he could, between tics. His head jerking, his shoulder jumping, his hand flying to his ear over and over. Madison got quieter and quieter. When their food arrived, Ethan's tics intensified. They always did when he was anxious. His head jerked as he tried to cut his steak. His arm flew up, nearly knocking over the water glass again. "Maybe you should order something easier to eat," Madison said. Not kindly. Like soup or something. The table went silent. "I can handle steak," Ethan said quietly. "I'm just trying to help. It's clearly difficult for you." Ashley touched Madison's arm. "Mad. What?" Madison looked around the table. "I'm sorry, but this is... I didn't sign up for this." "Sign up for what?" Ethan asked. His voice was steady even as his head jerked. "For this." She gestured at him. "I thought we were having a normal dinner. I didn't realize," she stopped herself. "Didn't realize what?" "That I have a disability." "Don't put words in my mouth. Then say what you mean." Madison's face flushed. "Fine. I'll be honest. I can't do this. I work in a professional environment. I have a reputation. I can't be with someone who draws this kind of attention, who makes people stare." "Madison," Ashley started. "No, let her finish," Ethan said. His head was jerking constantly now, every few seconds. "Tell me exactly what you think of me." Madison stood up. "You're not a real man, okay? A real man is someone I can introduce to my colleagues, my family. Someone I can be proud of. Not someone who makes bird noises at dinner and can't even hold a glass without spilling it." The restaurant had gone quiet. Everyone was watching. "You're defective," Madison continued, her voice rising. "I'm sorry if that's harsh, but it's true. I deserve someone whole. Someone normal. Someone who doesn't require constant accommodation." Ethan sat frozen. He'd heard versions of this before. From classmates, from former friends, from his own parents who loved him but wished he were different. But hearing it here, in public, in front of all these people. "I can't do this," Madison said. She grabbed her purse. "I'm sorry, but I can't be with someone so broken." She walked out. The silence that followed was crushing. Devin was the first to speak. "Ethan, man, I'm so sorry. I had no idea she'd..." "It's fine." Ethan's voice came out flat. "I'm used to it." "You shouldn't have to be used to it," Ashley said, her eyes bright with tears. "That was cruel." Ethan's head jerked. His hand flew up. He wanted to disappear. Wanted the floor to open up and swallow him whole. And then someone moved. A black woman in a server's uniform appeared at his table. Not their server, someone else. She had an afro pulled back in a ponytail, tired eyes, and the kind of face that had seen some things. She was holding a water pitcher, but she wasn't filling any glasses. She was looking at him. And then she did it. The gesture. 2 fingers to her temple, then to her heart, then opened her palm toward him. You're perfect as you are. Ethan's breath caught. His head jerked, but his eyes stayed locked on hers. She mouthed something. I see you. You're not broken. Then she looked at where Madison had been sitting and made an exaggerated eye roll. So dramatic, so perfectly timed, that despite everything, Ethan almost smiled. The woman gave him a small nod, then moved back to her section as if nothing had happened. But everything had happened. Someone had seen him. Really seen him. Not the tics, not the disability, not the broken parts. Just him. Who was that? Devin asked. I don't know, Ethan said. But I need to find out. Keisha Williams's feet were screaming. Hour 6 of her 8-hour shift at Belmont's, and she'd already refilled approximately 8,000 water glasses, recited the specials 40 times, and watched 3 different grown men throw tantrums because their steaks weren't cooked exactly right. But that woman at table 15, the blonde in the navy dress, that was a different kind of ugly. Keisha had watched the whole thing from across the dining room. Had seen the young man's tics, recognized them immediately. Her younger brother Terrence had Tourette syndrome. She'd grown up with those same movements, those same sounds, that same look on his face when people stared. She'd also grown up learning the code. The gesture that meant I see you, you're okay, you're safe. When the blonde woman had said defective, Keisha's hands had clenched so hard she'd nearly cracked the water pitcher she was holding. She'd wanted to march over there and tell that woman exactly where she could shove her perfect life and her perfect standards. But that would have gotten her fired, and she couldn't afford to lose this job. So instead, she'd done what she could. The gesture, the eye roll, the acknowledgement. The young man had seen it. She'd watched something shift in his face, still hurt, but not quite so destroyed. Good. Now she had 3 tables of her own to deal with. A toddler at table 8 who'd just thrown spaghetti on the floor, and a kitchen that was backed up because one of the line cooks had called out sick. She didn't have time to think about the young man at table 15. But she thought about him anyway. At 11 p.m., Keisha clocked out. Her tips for the night totaled $187. Good for a Friday, enough to make a dent in this month's bills. She changed out of her uniform in the staff bathroom, pulled on jeans and a faded Howard University sweatshirt. Her phone showed 3 missed calls from her mother and 2 texts from her brother. Mom, can you pick up Jaden tomorrow? I have a doctor's appointment. Terrence, yo, I'm broke till payday. Can you spot me $50? Keisha typed back to her mother. What time? To Terrence, come by the apartment tomorrow. I'll have cash. She couldn't really spare $50, but Terrence was in between jobs again, and family was family. She walked out the back entrance into the alley, breathing in the cold November air. The restaurant smelled like expensive food and richer people. Out here, it just smelled like San Francisco, exhaust and fog and salt water. Excuse me. Keisha spun around. The young man from table 15 was standing there. He was wearing the same clothes from dinner, but he'd added a jacket. His head jerked as he looked at her. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you, he said. I've been waiting. I wanted to. I needed to thank you. Keisha relaxed slightly. You waited 3 hours? I had some work to finish. The restaurant system. I'm a software engineer. They called me in earlier to fix. He trailed off. Sorry, you don't care about that. What you did at dinner. The gesture. How do you know that? My brother, Keisha said. Terrence. He has Tourette's. He taught me the code when we were kids. The young man's face transformed. Your brother has Tourette's? Since he was 7. He's 23 now. I'm 26. Diagnosed at 8. His hand flew up to his ear. Sorry. That's my most frequent one. You don't have to apologize for your tics. Not to me. He looked at her like she'd just solved an impossible equation. People always say that, but they don't mean it. You mean it? Yeah, I do. They stood there in the alley, a strange pair. Him in his business casual. Her in her sweatshirt and jeans. The fog rolling in from the bay. What's your name? He asked. Keisha Williams. I'm Ethan Rivera. His head jerked. I know this is weird, but could I buy you coffee? Not now, I know you just got off work. But sometime. As a thank you. Keisha should have said no. Should have smiled politely, said it was nothing, gone home to her small apartment where her 4-year-old son was sleeping at her mother's house. But something about the way he looked at her, not like she was doing charity, but like she'd thrown him a lifeline, made her pause. Coffee, she said. Not dinner, not anything fancy. Just coffee. Just coffee, he agreed. Tomorrow? There's a place on Valencia, open till 10. I work a double tomorrow. Won't be free until 9. I'll be there at 9. I'll wait as long as it takes. Keisha pulled out her phone. Give me your number. I'll text you if something changes. They exchanged numbers. His hand was shaking slightly when he typed on his phone. Another tick, probably. Thank you, he said again. For seeing me. 4. Being a decent human? Bar's pretty low, huh? He laughed. Actually laughed. You'd be surprised. Keisha's phone buzzed. Her mother. Jaden wants to say goodnight. I have to go, she said. My son. You have a son? 4 years old. Jaden. He's staying with my mom tonight, but he likes to FaceTime before bed. Something crossed Ethan's face. Not disappointment. Something else. That's really nice. That he has that routine. Routines are important, Keisha said. Especially for kids. Yeah, Ethan said quietly. They are. They stood there for another moment. Then Keisha said, 9 p.m. tomorrow. Valencia Street. Don't make me wait. I won't. She walked to the bus stop, pulled out her phone, and FaceTimed her mother. Jaden's face appeared on screen, round and sleepy and perfect. Mama. Hey baby boy. You being good for grandma. I helped make dinner. We made mac and cheese. From the box. The fancy kind with 3 cheeses, her mother said from off screen. Don't start. Keisha smiled. Sounds delicious. Did you brush your teeth? Yes, Mama. Say your prayers. Yes, Mama. Then give me a kiss goodnight. Jaden pressed his lips to the screen. Keisha did the same. Love you bigger than the sky, she said. Love you bigger than the universe, he replied. It was their thing. Their nightly exchange. Keisha had started it when he was 2, and now he'd fight her if she tried to go to bed without saying it. The call ended. Keisha sat at the bus stop, her phone warm in her hand. She thought about the young man, Ethan, standing in that alley, looking at her like she'd given him something precious just by acknowledging his humanity. She thought about Madison, calling him broken and defective. She thought about her brother Terrence, who'd heard those same words his whole life. She thought about her son Jaden, who'd never met anyone with Tourette's except his uncle, who thought Uncle T's tics were the coolest thing in the world. What would Jaden think of Ethan? Probably ask him a million questions. Probably want to know if he could do the tics on command. Probably decide they were best friends within 5 minutes. The bus came. Keisha got on, found a seat by the window, and rode through the city. Tomorrow was another double shift. Another day of being invisible, of serving food to people who looked through her, of smiling until her face hurt. But tomorrow night, she had coffee with someone who'd actually seen her, who'd waited 3 hours just to say thank you. Maybe that was something. Maybe that was enough. Ethan barely slept. He lay in his bed in his small apartment in the Sunset District, staring at the ceiling, replaying the evening over and over. Madison's words. Defective. Broken. Not a real man. And then Keisha's gesture. You're perfect as you are. His phone sat on his nightstand. At 2 a.m., he picked it up and typed a text to Keisha. Deleted it. Typed another. Deleted that too. What would he even say? Thanks for being a decent human being? That shouldn't be remarkable, but it was. At 7 a.m., he gave up on sleep. Made coffee. Opened his laptop. He had a project due Monday, a security audit for a startup in Soma. The code was a mess full of vulnerabilities. He should focus on that. Instead, he found himself Googling Tourette Syndrome support groups San Francisco. His parents had never let him join one. Why would you want to spend time with people who will remind you of your problem? His mother had said. You should focus on overcoming it, not embracing it. But Keisha's brother had Tourette's. And from the way she'd made that gesture, from the understanding in her eyes, he'd embraced it. He'd found community in it. What would that feel like? To not have to hide. At noon, his phone rang. His mother. Ethan. Sunday dinner. Your father, and I need to talk to you about Jennifer. Mom, I've told you. Jennifer's parents are willing to move forward despite last night's incident. His head jerked. How do you know about last night? Ashley's mother is friends with Mrs. Wu. She told her everything. About the scene you caused. The scene I caused? Ethan's voice rose. Mom, Madison walked out on me. She called me defective in front of the entire restaurant. You provoked her. You always provoke people with your behavior. My behavior? You mean my disability. Don't be dramatic. You know what I mean. You don't try hard enough to control it. You let it control you. Ethan closed his eyes. This was an old argument. His parents loved him, he knew that. But they loved an imaginary version of him more. The one without Tourette's. The one who fit neatly into their American dream. I'm not marrying Jennifer, he said quietly. I'm not marrying anyone you choose for me. And I'm not apologizing for having Tourette's. No one's asking you to apologize. We're asking you to make an effort. To think about your future. About family honor. Family honor? Or family shame? Silence. Then, Sunday. 5 p.m. Don't be late. She hung up. Ethan sat there, his phone in his hand, his head jerking every few seconds. His shoulder jumping. His hand flying to his ear. A text came through. Keisha, still on for tonight? 9 p.m. at Cafe Alma on Valencia? He typed back immediately, yes. I'll be there. 3 dots appeared. Then, my son wants to meet you. Is it okay if I bring him? My mom had to cancel babysitting. Ethan stared at the message. Her son. For years old. A kid who'd probably stare at his tics, ask uncomfortable questions, maybe get scared. Or maybe he'd be like Keisha. Maybe he'd understand. Of course, Ethan typed. I'd love to meet him. Cool. He's obsessed with dinosaurs. Fair warning. Ethan smiled despite himself. Noted. He spent the rest of the day working on his project, but his mind kept drifting. What did you wear to coffee with someone who'd already seen you at your worst? What did you say to a 4-year-old? At 8:30 p.m., he drove to Valencia Street, found parking 3 blocks away. Cafe Alma was a small place with mismatched furniture, local art on the walls, and the smell of coffee and cinnamon. He got there at 8:45. Ordered a decaf, caffeine made his tics worse. Found a table in the back corner, the one with the wall behind it. His therapist had taught him that walls felt safe, open spaces felt vulnerable. At 9:03, Keisha walked in. She was wearing jeans and a green jacket, her afro loose around her shoulders. And holding her hand was a small boy with brown skin, big eyes, and a dinosaur backpack. Jaden. Ethan stood up. His head jerked. Jaden's eyes widened. Whoa, the boy said. Did you just do that on purpose? Jaden, Keisha said sharply. Manners. It's okay, Ethan said. He knelt down so he was at Jaden's level. No, I didn't do it on purpose. I have something called Tourette syndrome. It makes my body do things I can't control. See? His head jerked again. His hand flew up. Jaden watched, fascinated. Does it hurt? No, it doesn't hurt. It's just automatic. Like breathing or blinking. Can you make it stop? Not really. Sometimes I can delay it for a little bit, but it always happens eventually. That's so cool, Jaden said. My Uncle T does that too. He makes sounds and stuff. Jaden, Keisha said. Let Ethan sit down. We're not interrogating him. I don't mind, Ethan said. He smiled at Jaden. Your mom said you like dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs, Jaden said, suddenly animated. Do you know about the Spinosaurus? It's the biggest carnivore ever. Bigger than T-Rex. It ate fish and had a sail on its back end. Okay, baby, let's order first, then you can tell Ethan everything about dinosaurs. They got in line. Keisha ordered a latte. Jaden ordered hot chocolate. They found their way back to Ethan's table. Thank you for this, Keisha said as they sat. I know it's not what you signed up for, coffee with a stranger and her talkative kid. I like talkative, Ethan said. And I meant what I said. I wanted to thank you. What you did last night, you have no idea what that meant. I do, actually. I've watched my brother go through the same thing. People treating him like he's contagious or dangerous or just less than. How old was he when he was diagnosed? 7. It started with eye blinking, then head jerking, then vocal tics. By the time he was 10, he was getting sent home from school because other kids' parents complained he was disruptive. Ethan's jaw tightened. I got expelled from 2 schools. My parents finally put me in private school where they could manage the situation. Manage. That's a word. It means hide, Ethan said quietly. They wanted me to hide it. Control it. Be normal. You know what my mom told Terrence when he got diagnosed? What? She said, baby, God made you exactly the way you're supposed to be. And anybody who has a problem with that has a problem with God, not you. Ethan felt something crack open in his chest. My parents said, God gave you a challenge to overcome. If you work hard enough, you can beat it. That's not how Tourette's works. I know, but they don't want to know. They want to believe that if I just try harder, I can be the son they actually wanted. Jaden, who'd been coloring on a napkin with crayons the cafe kept in a jar, looked up. My daddy didn't want me. The air went out of the conversation. Keisha's hand moved to Jaden's shoulder. Baby, it's okay, Mama. You said we could talk about it. Jaden looked at Ethan. My daddy died when I was 2. In an accident at work. Mama says he loved me, but I don't remember him. Ethan's throat tightened. I'm sorry, Jaden. It's okay. I have Mama and Grandma and Uncle T. That's enough family. That's more than enough, Ethan said. Keisha's eyes were bright. She blinked hard, took a sip of her latte. Tell me about the Spinosaurus, Ethan said to Jaden. You said it ate fish? And just like that, Jaden launched into an animated explanation of Cretaceous period marine predators. His hands flew around, demonstrating how the Spinosaurus hunted. His eyes lit up when he talked about fossils discovered in Morocco. Ethan listened. Really listened. And somewhere in the middle of Jaden's explanation of tooth morphology, which was impressive for a 4-year-old, his tics quieted. Not gone, they were never gone, but less frequent. You're good with him, Keisha said when Jaden paused to drink his hot chocolate. Kids are easier than adults. They don't judge. They just accept. Not all kids. No, Ethan agreed. Not all kids. But the good ones do. They talked for an hour. About Keisha's job at Belmont's, her second job at a diner in the Mission. About Ethan's work as a software engineer, his dream of starting his own company focused on accessibility technology. What kind of accessibility? Keisha asked. Apps and tools for people with disabilities. Right now I'm working on a communication app for people with speech disorders. It uses AI to translate typed text into natural-sounding speech, but it also learns the user's patterns and shortcuts. That's incredible. It's necessary. Most existing tech treats disabled people like an afterthought. I want to build things where we're the primary focus. We. People with Tourette's. People with any disability. We deserve technology that works for us, not around us. Keisha studied him. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? I don't know. Someone more defeated. After last night. I've been defeated before. Many times. But I always get back up. What choice do I have? You could give up. I could. But then people like Madison win. And I'm tired of letting people like her define what I'm worth. Jaden yawned, his head drooping toward the table. Okay, baby, time to go, Keisha said. She looked at Ethan. Thank you for this. For being patient with my very talkative son. Thank you for letting me meet him. And for. Ethan hesitated. Can I see you again? Not just coffee. Maybe something more. Keisha was quiet for a moment. Ethan, you seem like a really good guy. But I need to be honest with you. My life is complicated. I work 2 jobs. I have a 4-year-old. I don't have time for dating or relationships or anything that requires more energy than I've got. What if I'm not asking for energy? What if I'm offering it? What does that mean? It means I like you. I like Jaden. I like that you don't treat me like I'm made of glass. And I'm not asking for forever right now. I'm just asking for, next time. Whatever that looks like. Keisha looked at her son, half asleep on the chair. Then back at Ethan. My brother is having a thing next weekend. Saturday afternoon. Barbecue at his place. He'd love to meet someone else with Tourette's. If you want to come. I want to come. It's not fancy. Just family and friends. Very casual. Perfect. They exchanged more details. Keisha bundled Jaden into his jacket, picked him up even though he was getting too big for carrying. The boy's head dropped onto her shoulder immediately. He's out, Ethan said. He always crashes hard. Too much excitement for one day. At the door, Keisha turned back. Ethan? Yeah. That woman last night? She was wrong about everything. You're not broken. You're not defective. You're just you. And you is pretty good. Before Ethan could respond, she was gone. He sat there for another 20 minutes, nursing his cold decough, replaying the evening. A 4-year-old who thought his tics were cool. A woman who saw him as he was and didn't flinch. An invitation to meet her family. For the first time in longer than he could remember, Ethan felt something like hope. Terrence Williams lived in a small apartment in the Outer Mission. The kind of place where the rent was almost affordable if you had roommates and didn't mind bars on the windows. Ethan pulled up on Saturday at 2 p.m., his car loaded with a case of beer and a store-bought pie. His therapist had asked what he should bring to a family barbecue. Whatever feels right, Dr. Patel had said. But remember, you don't have to prove yourself. You're just showing up. Showing up. That was the theme of this week. His parents had called twice more about Sunday dinner. He'd ignored both calls. The apartment building was pale yellow with chipped paint. Ethan found apartment 3B and knocked. The door flew open. A black man in his early 20s stood there, muscular build, wearing a Warriors jersey. His head jerked to the left, once, twice. His shoulder jumped. You must be Ethan, he said, extending his hand. I'm Terrence. Keisha told me about you. They shook hands, both of them ticking at the same time. Terrence's head jerk, Ethan's hand flying to his ear. They looked at each other and laughed. Man, come in, Terrence said. It's good to meet someone who gets it. The apartment was small but full. People spilled out onto the back patio where a grill smoked. Music played, old school R&B. Someone was arguing about whether Steph Curry was better than LeBron. Keisha appeared, wearing jeans and a yellow t-shirt, her hair up in a bun. You made it. I made it. Ethan held up the beer and pie. I brought things. You didn't have to bring anything. My mom would disown me if I showed up empty-handed. Well, more than she's already considering it. Keisha took the items. Come on, I'll introduce you around. The next hour was a blur of names and faces. Keisha's mother, Regina, a woman in her late 50s with kind eyes and a firm handshake. Terrence's girlfriend, Aisha, a nursing student with a quick smile. Keisha's cousin Marcus and his wife. Neighborhood friends. A rotating cast of people who all seemed to know each other's business and weren't afraid to comment on it. So you're the one from the restaurant, Regina said, cornering Ethan by the grill. The one that girl walked out on. Mom, Keisha said, appearing with a plate of potato salad. I'm just saying, any woman who walks out on a man for something he can't control is not a woman worth keeping. His mama should have raised her better. You're not wrong, Ethan said. His head jerked. But it's okay. I'm used to it. That's the problem, Regina said. You shouldn't be used to it. You should expect better. I'm starting to, Ethan said, glancing at Keisha. Regina followed his gaze and smiled. Good. My daughter deserves a man who expects better too. Jaden found Ethan eventually, dragging him to the living room to see his dinosaur collection. 47 plastic dinosaurs, each with a name and detailed backstory. This one is Terry the Pteranodon. He's afraid of heights even though he can fly. And this one is Regina the Raptor. She's named after Grandma and she's the smartest one. Terrence joined them, sitting on the floor. Jaden's got the whole Mesozoic era covered. I can see that. Ethan's hand flew up to his ear. When were you diagnosed? 7. You? 8. Vocal tics? Yeah. A lot of throat clearing, some words. You? Barking sounds mostly. Some coprolalia. Ethan knew that term. Coprolalia, involuntary swearing. It only affected about 10% of people with Tourette's, but it was the stereotype everyone thought of. That must be hard. Middle school was hell, Terrence said. I'd be sitting in class and suddenly yell the F word. Got suspended 3 times before they finally understood I literally couldn't control it. I got expelled twice. My parents put me in private school eventually. Must be nice. We couldn't afford that. Public school all the way. But honestly, Terrence's head jerked. I think it made me tougher. I had to learn to handle people's reactions. Couldn't hide in a bubble. I wasn't hiding in a bubble. I was being suffocated by one. Terrence grinned. Fair point. So what do your parents think about you being here? With us regular folks. They don't know I'm here. They think I'm working on a project. You lying to them? I'm avoiding conflict until I figure out how to tell them I'm living my own life. Man, that's the hardest part. Setting boundaries with family. They love you, but they also want to control you. Especially when they think they know what's best. Exactly. Ethan felt something loosen in his chest. How did you do it? Set boundaries. I moved out at 18. Best decision I ever made. My mom cried for a week, said I was making a huge mistake. But I needed space to be myself. To tick without someone telling me to try harder to stop. I'm 26 and I still can't stand up to them. It's never too late. Terrence clapped him on the shoulder. You're here now. That's a start. They talked for another hour. About jobs. Terrence worked construction. Said most of his crew was cool about the tics once they understood. About dating. Terrence had broken up with 3 women who couldn't handle his Tourette's before meeting Aisha. How did you know Aisha was different? Ethan asked. She's a nursing student. She actually understood it was neurological, not behavioral. Plus, she thought my barking tic was funny. Like, genuinely funny, not mean funny. That's rare. That's love, man. Real love isn't about finding someone who tolerates your shit. It's about finding someone who loves you because of all of you, including the parts you think are broken. Ethan looked across the room to where Keisha was laughing with her mother, Jaden hanging off her arm. You like my sister, Terrence said. It wasn't a question. I barely know her. That's not what I asked. Ethan's head jerked. Yeah, I like her. Good. She deserves someone who sees her. Who doesn't just see the waitress or the single mom or the struggle. Someone who sees her. I'm trying to. Then keep trying. She doesn't let people in easy. Last guy she dated was Jaden's father, and we all know how that ended. She said he died. He did. Workplace accident. Left her with a 2-year-old and nothing but memories. She's been running on empty ever since, trying to keep everything together. She needs someone who adds to her life, not someone who takes more from it. I want to be that person. Then prove it. Terrence stood and extended his hand. Welcome to the family, man. You passed the test. There was a test? There's always a test. You just didn't know you were taking it. At sunset, people started leaving. Regina packed up Tupperware containers of leftovers for everyone. Jaden fell asleep on the couch, exhausted from a day of running around with his cousins. Keisha found Ethan on the back patio, watching the sun turn the sky orange and pink. Sorry if that was overwhelming, she said. My family is a lot. They're great. Terrence is great. He likes you. That's big. He doesn't like most people. The feeling's mutual. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Keisha said, Can I ask you something? Anything. Why did you really want to see me again? Was it just to thank me? Or was it something else? Ethan turned to face her. His head jerked. His hand flew up. He didn't apologize for either. It was something else, he said. You looked at me and you didn't flinch. You didn't pity me. You didn't try to fix me. You just saw me. And I've spent my whole life around people who can't do that. My parents love me, but they see my Tourette's first. My former friends tolerated me, but they always treated me like I was fragile. Even my therapist, who's great, sometimes talks to me like I'm a problem to be managed. And I don't do that. You make me feel normal. Not normal like I don't have Tourette's. Normal like having Tourette's doesn't define everything about me. Keisha was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I need to tell you something. And I need you to really hear it. Okay. I like you. I do. But my life is complicated in ways you might not understand. I work 2 jobs. I have a 4-year-old. I have medical debt from when Jaden had pneumonia last year. I have student loans I can't pay. I have a car that needs $800 in repairs I don't have. I am barely keeping my head above water. I know. Let me finish. I'm not telling you this so you'll fix it. I'm telling you because I need you to understand what you're signing up for. I don't have time for fancy dates or long phone calls or spontaneous trips. I have maybe 3 hours a week of free time, and most of that I'm too exhausted to do anything but sleep. Keisha. And there's something else. Something I haven't told you. Ethan waited. Jaden's father, his death wasn't just an accident. He was undocumented, working construction under the table. When he got hurt, the contractor didn't call 911 because he didn't want to get in trouble for hiring undocumented workers. By the time someone finally called, it was too late. Ethan's chest tightened. I'm so sorry. I don't tell people that. Because then they judge. They judge me for being with someone undocumented. They judge him for working illegally. They judge Jaden for being his son. And I'm tired of being judged. I'm not judging you. You say that now. But when things get hard, and they will get hard, you'll start seeing me differently. You'll see the complications. The baggage. All the reasons why this doesn't make sense. Ethan took a step closer. You want to know what I see? I see someone who works 2 jobs to support her son. Someone who learned sign language for her brother. Someone who stood up for a stranger in a restaurant because it was the right thing to do. I see someone strong and kind and real. And yes, I see the complications. But I also see someone worth the complications. Keisha's eyes filled with tears. You don't know me well enough to say that. Then let me get to know you. Let me prove I mean it. And what about your family? Your parents who want you to marry some nice Chinese girl? What are they going to say when you bring home a black single mother who works as a waitress? I don't care what they say. You will. Family pressure is real. So is choosing your own life. They stood there on the patio, the sun almost gone now, the sky turning purple. I'm scared, Keisha said quietly. I'm scared of letting you in and having you leave. I'm scared of Jaden getting attached and losing someone else. I'm scared that this feels too good to be true. I'm scared too, Ethan admitted. I'm scared I'll disappoint you. That my tics will get worse and you'll realize I'm too much work. That my parents will make your life hell. That I'm not strong enough to choose you over them. So what do? We try. We show up. We take it one day at a time. And we trust that if we're both trying, that's enough. Keisha wiped her eyes. One day at a time. One day at a time. She stepped closer. He stepped closer. And then, very gently, she reached up and touched his face. Her thumb brushed his cheek. Your tick is calmer right now, she said. Being around you calms them. I don't know why. Maybe because you don't have to hide. Maybe. They stood there, close enough to kiss, but neither moving. Just existing in the space between them. And then Jaden's voice came from inside. Mama, I had a bad dream. Keisha smiled and stepped back. Duty calls. Go. He needs you. Thank you for coming today. For meeting everyone. For everything. Thank you for inviting me. She went inside. Ethan stood on the patio for another moment, his head jerking, his hand flying up, his heart full in a way he couldn't quite name. One day at a time. He could do that. Sunday arrived like a storm Ethan had been watching form on the horizon. He'd spent Saturday night replaying the barbecue. Terrence's words about setting boundaries. Keisha's honesty about her complicated life. The way Jaden had fallen asleep against his shoulder while they watched a dinosaur documentary. He'd also ignored 4 more calls from his mother. At 4:30 p.m., he stood in front of his closet, staring at his clothes. What did you wear to tell your parents you were choosing your own life? He settled on dark jeans and a button-down shirt. Casual enough to signal he wasn't performing, formal enough to show respect. The drive to his parents' house in Daly City took 20 minutes. The house was a modest 3-bedroom, perfectly maintained. His father had bought it 30 years ago when he'd first immigrated from China, worked 3 jobs to pay it off, then used it as proof that the American dream was real if you just worked hard enough. Ethan's mother opened the door before he could knock. Lynn Rivera was 55, petite, always put together. Today she wore slacks and a silk blouse. Her hair was pulled back in a perfect bun. You're late, she said. I'm 10 minutes early. Dinner is at 5. You should arrive 30 minutes before to help. This was an old script. Ethan usually apologized and promised to do better. Today he just said, I'm here now. His mother's eyes narrowed, but she stepped aside to let him in. The house smelled like his childhood. Ginger, soy sauce, jasmine rice. His father's calligraphy scrolls hung on the walls, Chinese characters speaking about honor, family, perseverance. His father, David Rivera, was in the kitchen. He was 60, gray at the temples, still strong from years of physical work before he'd become an accountant. He looked up when Ethan entered. Ethan. Good. Come help me with the fish. They worked in silence, preparing dinner together. It was almost peaceful. His parents were good at peaceful surfaces. It was what lay underneath that caused problems. At exactly 5 p.m., they sat down to eat. Steamed fish, stir-fried vegetables, rice soup. So, his mother said after they'd all taken a few bites, Jennifer's parents want to meet with us next week. Ethan set down his chopsticks. I'm not interested in meeting with Jennifer's parents. Don't be difficult. They're willing to overlook Friday night's incident. There was no incident. A woman was cruel to me in public. That's what happened. His father spoke up. Ashley's mother said you provoked her. That you didn't try to control your tics. I can't control my tics. That's what Tourette syndrome means. You can try harder, his mother said. Stress management. Meditation. If you'd just apply yourself. I have applied myself. For 18 years. And you know what I've learned? I can't meditate away a neurological condition. His head jerked. His hand flew to his ear. His parents both looked away. This is exactly what we're talking about, his mother said. You let it control you. It's part of me. It's not something separate I can just get rid of. Other people manage their conditions better. Other people don't have my Tourette's. And I'm done comparing myself to some imaginary standard of perfect that doesn't exist. Silence fell over the table. His father ate methodically, not looking up. His mother's mouth was pressed into a thin line. We've sacrificed everything for you, she said finally. Do you know what it was like raising a child with your challenges? The doctors, the therapies, the special schools? Your father worked 60-hour weeks. I gave up my career. I didn't ask you to do any of that. You were a child. You didn't have to ask. We did what parents do. And now we're asking you to honor that sacrifice by thinking about your future. About family. I am thinking about my future. Just not the one you planned for me. His mother leaned forward. Is this about that waitress? The one from Friday night? Ethan's chest tightened. How do you know about her? Ashley's mother told Mrs. Wu. Who told me? You spent 3 hours with some waitress after Madison left. Her name is Keisha. I don't care what her name is. She's not appropriate for you. Appropriate? What does that even mean? His father finally looked up. It means someone from a good family. Someone educated. Someone who understands our culture and can help you build a respectable life. Keisha has a bachelor's degree. She's working 2 jobs to support her son while trying to save money for nursing school. She's educated, hardworking, and the best person I've met in years. She has a child. His mother's voice rose. From what? A failed marriage. Her partner died. Even worse. You'd be raising another man's child. Taking on that burden. He's not a burden. He's a 4-year-old boy who deserves respect. Just like I deserved respect when I was 4 and already showing signs of Tourette's. His mother stood up. Don't you dare compare yourself to some stranger's child. Why not? We both have challenges. We both need people who see us as human beings, not problems to fix. This is ridiculous. His mother paced the small dining room. You've known this woman for what? A week. And you're already defending her against your own family. Because you're attacking her without knowing her. His father set down his chopsticks carefully. Ethan, your mother and I love you. Everything we've done has been out of love. But you need to understand something. Love means making hard choices. Love means thinking about the future. I am thinking about the future. I'm thinking about a future where I'm not ashamed of who I am. Where I don't spend every day trying to be someone I'm not. You're being dramatic, his mother said. We've never asked you to be someone else. Yes, you have. Every time you tell me to try harder to control my tics. Every time you introduce me to someone and quietly pull them aside to explain my situation. Every time you suggest I take medication that makes me feel numb just so I'll be easier for other people to be around. We want what's best for you. No, you want what's easiest for you. You want a son who doesn't embarrass you, who doesn't require explanations, who fits neatly into the life you imagined. The silence that followed was thick and suffocating. His father spoke quietly. If you continue down this path, pursuing this inappropriate relationship, rejecting Jennifer, rejecting our guidance, there will be consequences. What kind of consequences? Financial ones. We've been supporting your business aspirations. The software development. We won't continue to invest in someone who doesn't respect our wishes. Ethan's stomach dropped. His parents had given him $50,000 seed money 2 years ago to start his accessibility software company. He'd been building on that, slowly growing the business. Without it, you're threatening to cut me off financially if I don't marry Jennifer? We're explaining reality, his mother said. Family support comes with family obligations. I'll pay you back. Every dollar. With interest. This isn't about money. Yes, it is. You're using money to control me, because you know you can't control my Tourette's. His mother's face flushed. How dare you? How dare I what? Tell the truth? Point out that you've spent my entire life trying to manage me like a problem instead of loving me like a son. We do love you. Then prove it. Accept me as I am. Accept that I have Tourette's, and it's not going away. Accept that I'm going to date whoever I want. Accept that my life belongs to me, not you. His father stood up. If that's your decision, then make it. But understand what you're choosing. You're choosing a woman you barely know over your own family. You're choosing to throw away everything we've built for you. And when it all falls apart, and it will, don't expect us to be there to pick up the pieces. Ethan felt something crack inside him. Not break, crack. Like ice on a frozen lake, the first sign of spring. I'm choosing myself, he said quietly. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing what I want. What I need. And if you can't support that, then maybe we need some distance. His mother's eyes filled with tears. You don't mean that. I do. I love you both. But I can't keep living for your approval. It's killing me. He stood up, his head jerking, his hand flying up. He didn't apologize. Didn't try to hide it. Thank you for dinner. I'll see myself out. He walked to the door. His mother called after him. Ethan, please. Don't do this. Don't throw away your family for some woman. I'm not throwing away my family. I'm setting boundaries. There's a difference. He left. In his car, Ethan sat with his hands on the steering wheel, shaking. His tics were going wild, head jerking every few seconds, shoulder jumping, vocal tics erupting in sharp bursts. He pulled out his phone. Texted Keisha. Can I call you? She replied immediately, yes. He called. She answered on the second ring. Hey, she said. You okay? I just left my parents' house. Told them I'm not marrying Jennifer. That I'm dating whoever I want. that I'm done letting them control my life. Oh my God. What did they say? They threatened to cut me off financially. Said I'm throwing away my family for someone I barely know. Silence. Then, Ethan, if your family is going to cut you off because of me, maybe we should. No. Don't finish that sentence. This isn't about you. This is about me finally standing up for myself. You gave me the courage to do it. I don't want to be the reason you lose your family. You're not. They're the reason. They're the ones making ultimatums. I'm just refusing to comply. He could hear her breathing on the other end of the line. Are you okay? She asked. Really okay? I'm terrified. I'm shaking. My tics are out of control. But I also feel free. Like I can finally breathe. Where are you right now? In my car. Outside their house. Come over. My place. Jaden's at my mom's for the night. We can talk. Or we can just sit. Whatever you need. You sure? I'm sure. Just drive safe, okay? Don't let your tics distract you. I won't. He hung up and started driving. Daly City to the mission. 25 minutes through Sunday evening traffic. His phone buzzed twice. Text messages from his mother. You're making a terrible mistake. When this falls apart, don't come crying to us. He didn't respond. Just kept driving. When he pulled up to Keisha's building, she was waiting outside. She got in the passenger seat without a word, just looked at him. Hi, he said. Hi. His head jerked. His hand flew up. She didn't look away. You want to come up or drive around for a while? Drive. I need to move. So they drove. Through the mission, through the Castro, up to Twin Peaks where they could see the whole city lit up below them. They didn't talk much. She just sat beside him, her presence steady and calm. Finally, at a lookout point with the city sprawling beneath them, Ethan spoke. My therapist warned me this would be hard. Setting boundaries with my parents. She said they'd push back because they've been in control for so long. But I didn't expect it to hurt this much. That's because you love them. It hurts more when you love someone and they can't see you. They think they see me. They just see the version of me they wish existed. I know that feeling. My dad left when I was 3 because he couldn't handle the reality of raising kids in poverty. He wanted the American dream version of family. When it didn't match up, he bailed. At least he left. My parents stayed and tried to mold me into something I'm not. I'm not sure which is worse. They sat in silence, watching the city lights. Can I ask you something? Keisha said. Anything. What do you want? Not what your parents want. Not what you think you should want. What do you actually want? Ethan thought about it. His whole life, he'd been told what to want. Success. Normalcy. A respectable career. A suitable marriage. Control over his Tourette's. I want to build technology that helps people like me. I want to wake up without immediately thinking about whether my tics are going to ruin my day. I want to be with someone who sees me, all of me, and doesn't flinch. He looked at her. I want to see where this goes. With you. If you'll let me. Keisha was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, I have to tell you something. And it might change how you feel. Okay. Jaden's father, Mateo, he wasn't just undocumented. He was sending most of his money back to his family in Guatemala. He had 2 kids there. A wife. I didn't know. I thought we were building a life together, and he had a whole other family I knew nothing about. Ethan absorbed this. How did you find out? After he died. His wife came to the funeral. With their kids. She didn't know about me either. About Jaden. We were both side pieces, I guess. Except I had his baby. I'm sorry. I'm telling you because I need you to know what you're getting into. I don't trust easy. I put up walls. And when things get hard, and they will, my first instinct is to run. To protect myself and Jaden. I'm not Mateo. I know. But trauma doesn't care about logic. It just tells me that people leave. People lie. People choose themselves over me. Ethan reached over and took her hand. I can't promise I won't mess up. I probably will. But I can promise I won't lie to you. And I can promise I'll try. Every single day, I'll try to show up and be worth your trust. Keisha's eyes were bright. That's all anyone can promise. They sat there, hands linked, looking out at the city that held both their pasts and their possible futures. What happens now? Keisha asked. Now I figure out how to build a business without my parents' money. How to live my life on my terms. How to be the person I want to be instead of the person I was trained to be. That's a lot. Yeah. But at least I won't be doing it alone. She squeezed his hand. No, you won't. They drove back to her apartment. It was small, One bedroom, a living room with a futon, a kitchen barely big enough for one person. But it was hers. She'd made it a home with thrift store furniture and Jaden's artwork covering the walls. Coffee, she offered. Please. They sat on the futon with their coffee, not touching but close. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it and sighed. My mom. Asking how you're doing. What are you going to tell her? The truth. That you stood up to your parents and now you're here, figuring out what comes next. What will she say? She'll probably tell you that family is complicated but worth fighting for. Then she'll invite you to dinner tomorrow and feed you until you can't move. Ethan smiled despite everything. Your mom is nice. She's seen some things. Lost some things. She knows what matters. They drank their coffee in comfortable silence. Then Keisha said, You can stay here tonight if you want. On the futon. I don't want you driving back to your place alone after the day you've had. You sure? I'm sure. Besides, Jaden would be mad if he found out you were here and he missed it. So Ethan stayed. Keisha brought him a pillow and blanket, and he stretched out on the futon while she went to her bedroom. He lay there in the dark, his tics still active but calmer now. His phone buzzed. Another text from his mother. He turned it off. Tomorrow he'd have to figure out his finances, his business, his future. Tomorrow he'd have to deal with the reality of what he'd just done. But tonight, he'd done the hardest thing he'd ever done. He'd chosen himself. And somehow, that felt like enough. 3 weeks later, Ethan's world was falling apart in slow motion. The $50,000 his parents had invested in his business? They wanted it back. Immediately. With interest. His lawyer said they had a case. It had been structured as a family loan, not a gift. The paperwork was clear. You can negotiate a payment plan, the lawyer said over the phone. But they're within their rights to demand repayment. Ethan sat in his small apartment, staring at his bank balance. $8,000. His rent was $2,200 a month. He had business expenses, insurance, student loans from college. He couldn't pay them back. Not without selling equipment, shutting down his business, starting over from nothing. His phone rang. His mother. He let it go to voicemail. She'd called every day for 3 weeks. Sometimes multiple times. The messages started out angry, then turned to pleading, then back to angry. You're throwing away your future for someone you barely know. Jennifer's family has withdrawn their offer. You've embarrassed us in front of our entire community. Your father had a health scare last week. Chest pains. The stress you're causing is literally killing him. That last one had broken something in him. His father had heart problems. High blood pressure, family history of cardiac issues. What if the stress really was hurting him? His therapist, Dr. Patel, had been clear. You can't control your parents' health. You can't sacrifice your well-being for their approval. Those are manipulation tactics, Ethan, even if they don't realize they're using them. But knowing something intellectually didn't make it hurt less. His business was suffering too. 2 clients had canceled their contracts. Both were Chinese-American business owners who'd heard about his family troubles through the community grapevine. We need someone more stable, one had said. Someone without drama. Drama. That's what his life had become. He was hemorrhaging money, hemorrhaging clients, and his tics were the worst they'd been in years. The stress made everything worse. More frequent head jerks, more vocal tics, his hands shaking constantly. And then there was Keisha. She was working herself to death. 2 jobs, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. He'd see her for an hour here, 2 hours there. She'd fall asleep on his couch mid-conversation, exhausted beyond words. I'm sorry, she'd say when she woke up. I'm so tired. Don't apologize. You're allowed to be tired. I know, but you need support too. You're going through so much with your parents, and I'm not. You're here. That's enough. But was it? He was starting to wonder if Terrence had been right, if he was adding to her burden instead of sharing it. Jaden, at least, was pure joy. The kid had taken to Ethan completely. Wanted to show him every new dinosaur fact, every drawing from school, every rock he found on the playground. You're going to marry my mama, right? Jaden had asked last week, completely out of nowhere. Ethan had frozen. We haven't talked about that yet, buddy. But you should. She smiles more when you're around. And you're nice. And you know about stars and dinosaurs. That's the best. It was the she smiles more when you're around that stuck with him. Because he'd noticed it too. The way her shoulders relaxed when he walked in. The way she laughed more easily. He made her life lighter. Or he had been. Now he was worried he was just adding more weight. The breaking point came on a Wednesday. Ethan was at Keisha's apartment. Jaden was at her mother's. They'd planned a rare evening together, just dinner and a movie on her laptop. But Ethan couldn't focus. His phone kept buzzing. His mother. His lawyer. A client asking to discuss concerns. "You need to deal with that," Keisha said gently. "I know. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Just handle it. I'll order pizza." He stepped out onto her small balcony and called his lawyer back. "Your parents are escalating," the lawyer said. "They're threatening to sue if you don't start making payments by next week." "I don't have the money." "Then we need to negotiate terms." "But Ethan, I have to be honest, they have a strong case. And litigation will cost you more in legal fees than the actual loan. So what do I do? Pay them back? Or reconcile with them and ask for mercy?" Reconcile. That meant apologizing. Admitting he was wrong. Breaking up with Keisha. Marrying Jennifer or someone like her. Going back to being the son they wanted instead of the person he was. He hung up and stood there on the balcony, his head jerking, his hands shaking. The city sprawled below him, millions of lights, millions of lives, and his felt like it was imploding. His phone rang again. Unknown number. He answered. "Hello? Ethan Rivera?" A woman's voice, professional. "Yes. This is Grace Chen from Bay Area Community News. I'm doing a story on family conflicts in immigrant communities. Your name came up. Would you be willing to comment on your estrangement from your parents?" His blood went cold. "How did you get my number?" "A source in the community mentioned your situation." "I thought. I have no comment. I understand this is sensitive, but these stories are important. Second-generation immigrants caught between traditional expectations and American values." I said no comment. He hung up. His hands were shaking so badly he nearly dropped the phone. The door opened behind him. "Keisha, you okay?" she asked. "No. A reporter just called. Someone's talking to the press about me and my parents." "What? Who?" "I don't know. Someone from the community. Someone who thinks this is a story worth telling." His voice cracked. "My life is falling apart, Keisha. My business, my family, my finances, everything I built is collapsing." She came over and put her hand on his arm. "Then we'll figure it out. Together." "How? How do we figure this out?" "I'm broke. I'm about to be sued by my own parents. My tics are so bad I can barely function. I can't even take you on a proper date because I'm too stressed to go to public places without having a complete meltdown. Ethan, and you're working yourself to death. You're exhausted all the time. You fall asleep in the middle of conversations. When's the last time you had a full day off? When's the last time you weren't worried about money or Jaden or your next shift? That's my life. That's not your fault. But I'm not making it better. I'm just adding more stress. Another person to worry about. Another commitment you can barely afford." Keisha's face changed. "Is that what you think? That you're a burden? Aren't I? Be honest. Your life was simpler before me. You had your routine, your work, your son. Now you have me and all my chaos. You think your chaos is worse than anyone else's? Ethan, everyone has chaos. Everyone has family drama and money problems and stress. That's just life. But you don't need my chaos on top of yours. I don't need it. I choose it. There's a difference. Why? Why choose this? You could find someone stable. Someone without Tourette's, without family problems, without what? Without humanity? Without vulnerability? Without real emotions?" Her voice rose. "You think I want some perfect robot who never struggles? I've been with stable. Mateo was stable right up until I found out he had a whole other family. Stable doesn't mean good, Ethan. I'm not good either. I'm a mess. You're human. That's not the same as being a mess." His vocal tick erupted, a sharp bark sound. He covered his mouth, embarrassed even here, even with her. "Don't do that," Keisha said. "Don't hide from me. I can't help it. The stress makes everything worse. I can't control anything anymore." "Then stop trying to control it. Just exist with it." "I don't know how." They stood there on the balcony, the cold wind whipping around them, the city lights blurring through Ethan's tears. "My parents are right," he said finally. "I am throwing away everything they built for me. For what? For a relationship that's probably going to fail anyway." Keisha stepped back like he'd slapped her. "Is that what you think? That we're going to fail? I don't know. I don't know anything anymore." "Then maybe you should figure it out." "What does that mean?" "It means I can't be with someone who's already planning our failure. I've been down that road. I won't do it again." "Keisha. No. Listen to me. I know I'm not what your parents want. I know I come with baggage, a kid debt, a dead partner with secrets. I know I work too much, and I'm always tired, and I can't give you the kind of relationship you probably deserve. But I've been trying. Every single day, I've been trying to show up for you. You have. Let me finish. You want to know what I see when I look at you? I see someone brave. Someone who stood up to his parents even though it cost him everything. Someone who treats my son like he matters. Someone who doesn't see my struggles as problems to fix, just as parts of who I am. Her voice broke. I see someone I could love. Someone I'm already halfway to loving. But I can't love someone who doesn't believe in us. Who's just waiting for it to fall apart. Ethan's head jerked violently. His shoulder jumped. I'm scared. I'm so scared of losing everything. Of making the wrong choice. Of ruining both our lives. Being scared is okay. Planning our failure is not. I don't know how to not plan for failure. It's all I've ever known. My parents planning for my Tourette's to get worse. Teachers planning for me to disrupt class. Dates planning their exits before dinner even arrives. Everyone always has an escape route from me. I don't want an escape route. I want to build something. But I can't build with someone who's already got one foot out the door. The silence stretched between them. So what are you saying? Ethan asked quietly. I'm saying you need to figure out what you want. Really want. Not what your parents want. Not what you think you should want. What you actually want. And then you need to decide if you're brave enough to fight for it. I thought I was fighting for it. You're fighting against your parents. That's not the same as fighting for us. She was right. He'd been so focused on not being controlled that he hadn't thought about what he was actually building toward. I need time, he said. To think. To figure things out. Okay. Take your time. She turned to go inside. Keisha. Pizza should be here in 20 minutes. You should probably go. It wasn't angry. It was tired. The kind of tired that came from carrying too much for too long. Ethan wanted to argue. Wanted to fix it. But he didn't know how. So he left. He drove around for hours. Past his parents' house in Daly City. Past his office space in Soma. Past the restaurant where this had all started. At 11 p.m., he found himself at Twin Peaks again. The overlook where he and Keisha had sat weeks ago. The city sparkled below him. Beautiful and indifferent. His phone rang. Not his mother this time. Terrence. Hey man, Terrence said when Ethan answered. Keisha called me. Said you two had a fight. We did. Want to talk about it? Not really. Too bad. I'm coming to you. Where are you? Ethan told him. 20 minutes later, Terrence's truck pulled up. He got out, came over to Ethan's car, and knocked on the window. You coming out or am I getting in? Ethan got out. They leaned against his car, looking at the city. So, Terrence said. You messed up. Thanks for the support. I'm not here for support. I'm here to tell you the truth. You ready? Do I have a choice? Nope. Terrence's head jerked. His shoulder jumped. He didn't acknowledge either tick. My sister is the strongest person I know. She raised Jaden basically alone while Mateo was alive, then completely alone after he died. She works 2 jobs she hates to keep a roof over their heads. She puts everyone else first, me, my mom, Jaden, her co-workers. Everyone except herself. I know. I'm not done. When she met you, something changed. She started talking about going back to school. About maybe taking a day off once in a while. About letting someone help carry the weight. You know why? Why? Because you made her believe she deserved help. That she wasn't just a workhorse meant to serve everyone else. That she could want things for herself. Ethan's throat tightened. And then tonight, Terrence continued, you basically told her she was right to never trust anyone. That everyone leaves. That no one actually wants to stay. I didn't mean. Doesn't matter what you meant. That's what she heard. And you know what she's doing right now? She's at home, crying, telling herself she was stupid to believe someone could actually love her the way she is. The words hit like physical blows. I didn't want to hurt her, Ethan said. I'm just scared. My parents, my business, everything's falling apart. Yeah, life is hard. Welcome to being an adult. You think Keisha's life isn't hard? You think I don't struggle every day with tics and judgment and trying to make a living? Everyone's fighting something. The question is whether you're going to fight alone or together. I don't know if I'm strong enough to fight. Then you've already lost. Terrence turned to face him fully. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Dating my sister is hard. She's stubborn. She's been hurt. She doesn't trust easy. And she comes with a 4-year-old who asks a million questions and needs attention and deserves a father figure, who's actually going to stick around. I want to be that. Then be it. Stop talking about being scared. Stop planning for failure. Stop giving yourself escape routes. Just show up. Every single day. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. What if I mess up again? You will mess up again. That's guaranteed. But the question is whether you'll mess up while trying to build something, or whether you'll mess up while running away. They stood in silence for a while. Then Ethan said, "Your sister said she's halfway to loving me." "Yeah, she is. Maybe more than halfway. Which is why tonight hurt so much. She let her walls down for you. Don't make her regret it." "What do I do?" "First, figure out what you actually want. Not what your parents want. Not what you think you should want. What you want." "I want her. And Jaden. And a life where I'm not constantly apologizing for existing." "Good. Second, figure out how to get it." "My parents are suing me. I'm broke. My business is failing. So rebuild. Start over. Freelance. Get a regular job. Do whatever it takes. Money is just money. You can always make more. But people, the right people, those are rare. My therapist says I need to set boundaries with my parents." "Your therapist is right. But boundaries don't mean burning bridges. They mean protecting your peace while still leaving room for reconciliation if they're willing to change. They won't change. Maybe not today. Maybe not this year. But people can surprise you. My dad left when I was 8. Came back when I was 20 and tried to reconnect. I told him no. He came back again at 22. And again at 24. Finally, at 26, I let him try. We have a relationship now. Not perfect, but something. What changed? He did. He got therapy. He apologized. He acknowledged the hurt he'd caused. And then he proved he meant it by showing up consistently. Not perfectly, but consistently. My parents think I'm the one who needs to change. Then maybe they're not ready yet. But that doesn't mean you stop living your life while you wait for them. Ethan's head jerked. His hand flew up. He was so tired of ticking. So tired of fighting his own body. "Can I tell you something?" Terrence said. "Yeah. When I met Aisha, I didn't think someone like her would ever want someone like me. She's educated, beautiful, has her life together. I'm a construction worker with Tourette's who barely finished community college. I kept waiting for her to wake up and realize she could do better. What happened? She told me to stop being an idiot. That she wasn't dating my resume or my tics. She was dating me. And if I kept insulting her judgment by implying she'd made a bad choice, she was going to leave not because of my Tourette's, but because I was being disrespectful. That sounds like Keisha tonight. It should. Strong women don't have patience for self-pity. They want partners, not projects. I don't want to be her project. Then don't be. Be her partner. Show up. Do the work. Fight for what you want instead of against what you don't want. Terrence clapped him on the shoulder. I'm going home. You should too. And tomorrow, you should figure out how to fix this. Because if you don't, I'm going to be really disappointed. And you don't want to disappoint me. Why not? Because I lift heavy things for a living and I know where you live. Despite everything, Ethan laughed. After Terrence left, Ethan sat in his car for another hour thinking. What did he want? He wanted Keisha. He wanted Jaden. He wanted a life where his Tourette's was just one part of him, not the defining part. He wanted to build something real with someone who saw him completely. He wanted to stop running from fear and start running towards something better. Tomorrow, he'd start figuring out how. Tonight, he'd just sit with the truth. He'd hurt someone he cared about. And now he had to decide if he was brave enough to make it right. Ethan didn't sleep. He sat at his kitchen table all night, a notebook in front of him, writing. Not code. Not business plans. Just thoughts. What do I want? Who do I want to be? What am I willing to fight for? By 6 a.m., he had his answers. He wanted Keisha. He wanted to be part of Jaden's life. He wanted to build a business that mattered, even if it meant starting from scratch. He wanted a relationship with his parents, but not at the cost of himself. And he was willing to fight for all of it. At 8 a.m., he called his lawyer. I want to settle with my parents. Work out a payment plan I can actually afford. No litigation. Just reasonable terms. That's smart. I'll reach out to their attorney. Next, he called Dr. Patel. Emergency session? I need to talk through something. I have an opening at noon. Can you make it? I'll be there. Then he did the hardest thing. He texted Keisha. I messed up last night. I let fear make me say things I didn't mean. Can we talk? I understand if you need space. But I want to fight for us. If you'll let me. He He stared at his phone for 10 minutes. No response. Maybe she was sleeping. Maybe she was at work. Maybe she was done with him. He went to his therapy session. Dr. Patel was a woman in her 40s, Indian American, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense approach that Ethan appreciated. "So," she said when he sat down, "you're in crisis mode. Is it that obvious? You texted me at 6 a.m. asking for an emergency session." "Yes, it's obvious. Talk to me." He told her everything. The fight with his parents. The lawsuit. The conversation with Keisha. The fear that he was destroying everything. "You're catastrophizing," Dr. Patel said when he finished. "Which is understandable given the stress you're under. But let's separate what's actually happening from what you fear might happen." She pulled out a whiteboard, something she did when Ethan's thoughts were spiraling. "Facts," she wrote on one side. "Fears on the other. Give me the facts." "My parents are demanding repayment of $50,000. I have $8,000 in savings. My business lost 2 clients. Keisha and I had a fight." Dr. Patel wrote it all down. "Now the fears. I'm going to lose everything. My business will fail. Keisha will leave me. My parents will never speak to me again. I'll end up alone and broke." She wrote those down too. Then she tapped the facts column. "These are real problems. They require real solutions. But they're solvable problems. Money can be earned. Clients can be found. Relationships can be repaired." She tapped the fears column. "These are stories you're telling yourself. They might come true. They might not. But treating them as inevitable is what's actually destroying you right now. So what do? You focus on what you can control. You can control how you respond to your parents' lawsuit. That's why you're settling. You can control how you rebuild your business. That's a plan you can make. You can control how you show up for Keisha. That's a choice you make every day. What if she doesn't want me to show up anymore? Then you respect that, but you don't assume it. You ask. You communicate. You give her the power to make her own choice instead of making it for her. "I told her last night that we were probably going to fail anyway." Dr. Patel winced. "That's not great." "I know. Why did you say it?" "Because I was scared. Because failing is what I know. Staying and making it work, that's foreign territory. So you tried to control the narrative by predicting the worst outcome." "Yeah, Ethan, that's a trauma response. You've spent your life being rejected, by schools, by classmates, by dates, in some ways by your own parents. So now you reject first. You leave before you can be left." The words hit home. Hard. How do I stop doing that? You practice staying. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when you're scared. You practice believing that you're worth staying for. What if I'm not? You are. But you won't believe me until you believe yourself. That's the work. They talked for the full hour. By the end, Ethan had a clearer picture. Step 1. Settle with his parents on terms he could manage. Step 2. Rebuild his business from the ground up. Take freelance contracts, cut expenses, start small. Step 3. Apologize to Keisha. Really apologize. Not just words, but action. Step 4. Figure out boundaries with his parents that allowed for relationship but protected his autonomy. It wasn't going to be easy, but it was possible. At 2 p.m., his phone buzzed. "Keisha, I'm working until 9. Can you come by after? We should talk." "I'll be there," he typed back immediately. 7 hours. He had 7 hours to figure out what to say. He spent them working. Reached out to former clients, offering freelance rates. Updated his portfolio. Sent proposals to 3 companies he'd been too proud to approach before. By 6 p.m., he had 2 responses. Small contracts, but something. A start. At 8:45 p.m., he drove to Keisha's apartment. Sat in his car, rehearsing what he wanted to say. "I was wrong. I let fear control me. I want to fight for us. Simple. Honest. True." At 9:03, Keisha's car pulled up. She got out, saw him, and walked over. "You're early," she said. "I didn't want to be late." They went upstairs. Her apartment was quiet. Jaden at Regina's again. She made tea. They sat on opposite ends of the futon. "You wanted to talk," she said. Ethan's head jerked. His hands were shaking. He didn't hide either. "I'm sorry," he said. "For last night. For saying we were going to fail. For acting like you were a burden instead of the best thing in my life." Keisha was quiet, holding her mug. "I've spent my whole life being rejected," Ethan continued. "By schools that didn't want to deal with my tics. By kids who thought I was weird. By dates who couldn't handle my disability. Even by my parents, in a way, They love me, but they love the idea of me without Tourette's more. I know. Let me finish. Please. His voice cracked. I've learned to expect rejection. To plan for it. To reject people first before they can reject me. And last night, when everything was falling apart with my parents and my business, I panicked. I tried to control the one thing I thought I could control, leaving before you could leave me. Tears ran down his face. He didn't wipe them away. But I don't want to leave. I don't want to plan for failure. I want to build something with you. Something real and messy and complicated and worth fighting for. Keisha set down her mug. What changed? Between last night and today. I talked to Terrence, and my therapist, and I spent the whole night thinking about what I actually want, not what I'm afraid of. And what I want is you, and Jaden, and a life where I'm brave enough to stay even when I'm scared. That sounds good, Ethan. But I need more than words. I need to know you mean it. Tell me what you need. I'll do it. I need you to stop planning our exit. Every time things get hard, I can't have you threatening to leave. I've been left too many times. I won't do it again. I won't leave. You can't promise that. Life happens. People change. But you can promise to try. To fight through the hard stuff instead of running from it. I promise to try. Every single day. Keisha's eyes were red. I need you to understand something. My life is always going to be complicated. I have a son who needs me. I have family who depend on me. I have debt and stress and a job that exhausts me. That's not going to change overnight. I know. And I need you to understand that I can't fix you. I can't make your parents accept you. I can't make your business succeed. I can't take away your Tourette's or make your life easier. All I can do is show up and be your partner. Is that enough? It's more than enough. Because last night, it felt like you wanted me to be your savior. Like I was supposed to make everything better just by being here. Ethan shook his head. I don't need a savior. I need a partner. Someone who sees me and stays. Someone who lets me see them and stay too. Keisha was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, I was halfway to loving you. I said that last night. I remember. I think I'm more than halfway now. Maybe 3/4. Maybe more. I love you, Ethan said. The words came out before he could second guess them. I love you and I love Jaden, and I want to be part of your life in whatever way you'll let me. You love me? Yes. We've known each other for a month. I know. Is that too fast? I don't know. Maybe. But. She looked at him, really looked at him. I think I love you too. Which terrifies me. We can be terrified together. She laughed, wiping her eyes. That's not romantic. It's honest. They sat there, both crying, both exhausted, both scared. So what now? Keisha asked. Now I rebuild. My business, my relationship with my parents, my life. And I do it with you beside me if you'll stay. What about your parents? The lawsuit. I'm settling. Working out a payment plan. It'll take years to pay them back, but I'll do it. Can you afford that in your business? I'll figure it out. Freelance work, side contracts, whatever it takes. What about us? What do you need from me? Just be patient. I'm going to mess up. My tics are going to get worse when I'm stressed. I'm going to have days where I can barely function. But I'll keep showing up. I'll keep trying. I'm going to mess up too. I'm going to be exhausted and cranky, and sometimes I won't have energy for anything but survival. But I'll try too. Then we try together. Keisha moved closer on the futon. Took his hand. Jaden really likes you, she said. I really like him. He asked me this morning if you were going to be his dad. Ethan's breath caught. What did you tell him? I told him we'd see. That grown-up relationships are complicated. That I couldn't promise anything. What do you want to promise? I want to promise him that you're not going anywhere. But I can't. Not yet. Not until I know for sure. How do I make you know for sure? Time. Consistency. Showing up when it's hard, not just when it's easy. I can do that. They sat holding hands, their futures uncertain but their intentions clear. Can I stay tonight? Ethan asked. On the futon. I don't want to be alone. You can stay. He stayed. And when morning came, they had breakfast together. Nothing fancy, eggs and toast. But it felt like something. Like a beginning. At noon his phone rang. His lawyer. Your parents accepted the settlement terms. $500 a month for 8 years. No interest. They'll drop the lawsuit. Ethan exhaled for what felt like the first time in weeks. Thank you. There's one condition. What? They want to meet with you. In person. With a family therapist. They said they'll respect your boundaries, but they want to try to rebuild relationship. Ethan's chest tightened. When? Whenever you're ready. No pressure. But they wanted me to tell you they're sorry. For the pressure. For the ultimatums. They said they've been going to therapy too. After he hung up, Ethan sat there, stunned. His parents were going to therapy. His parents wanted to rebuild. It didn't fix everything. It didn't erase the hurt. But it was something. He texted his mother. I heard about the settlement. Thank you. I'm willing to meet. With a therapist. When you're ready. The response came an hour later. We're ready whenever you are. We love you. We're sorry we couldn't show it better. 2 weeks later, Ethan sat in a family therapist's office with his parents. Dr. Morrison was a Chinese-American woman in her 60s, recommended by Dr. Patel. She specialized in immigrant families and intergenerational trauma. Thank you all for coming, she said. This is a safe space to talk honestly about what's happened and what you need moving forward. His mother spoke first. We're sorry. Her voice was thick with tears. We thought we were protecting you. We thought if we could just make you normal enough, you'd have an easier life. But we were wrong, his father added. We weren't protecting you. We were trying to fix something that wasn't broken. Ethan's head jerked. His hand flew up. Neither parent looked away. Your Tourette's is part of who you are, his mother continued. And we should have celebrated that instead of trying to erase it. We went to a support group, his father said. For parents of children with disabilities. We listened to other families. We learned that we'd been approaching everything wrong. Ethan didn't trust his voice. Just nodded. Dr. Morrison guided them through the session, talking about boundaries, about respect, about the difference between love and control. I need you to understand, Ethan said finally. I love Keisha. I love her son. And I'm going to marry her someday, if she'll have me. You don't have to approve. But you do have to respect my choice. His mother's face twisted. Not with anger, with pain. Is she good to you? His mother asked quietly. She's the best person I've ever known. Does she understand your Tourette's? Her brother has it. She's lived with it her whole life. Something in his mother's face softened. Then maybe she's the right person. We were wrong about that too. About what you need. It wasn't acceptance. Not yet. But it was a crack in the wall. They talked for 2 hours. Made plans for monthly sessions. Set boundaries. His parents wouldn't interfere in his relationships. He'd keep them informed about his life. It wasn't perfect. But it was a start. The coffee shop on Valencia was packed for a Saturday morning. Ethan sat at their usual table, the one in the back corner with the wall behind it, watching Jaden color a picture of a Tyrannosaurus Rex wearing a tuxedo. Why is he wearing a tuxedo? Ethan asked. Because he's going to a wedding, Jaden said, like it was obvious. My T-Rex is very fancy. Whose wedding? Jaden looked up with those big brown eyes. Yours and Mama's. Duh. Ethan's heart skipped. They'd been talking about it, him and Keisha, but carefully. No rush. No pressure. Just eventually. We're not engaged yet, buddy. But you're going to be. Everyone knows it. Everyone. Me, Grandma, Uncle T, even Grandpa Warren. He told me last week you were going to ask soon. Ethan made a mental note to talk to his father about spoiling surprises. The last year had been hard. Harder than Ethan had imagined. But it had also been the best year of his life. His business had rebuilt slowly. Freelance contracts turned into regular clients. Regular clients turned into referrals. He wasn't rich, but he was stable. Paying his parents $500 a month, covering his expenses, even saving a little. His relationship with his parents was complicated, but improving. Monthly therapy sessions had helped. His mother still sometimes said things that hurt, suggesting he try new treatments for his Tourette's, asking when he'd get a real job. But she was trying. They both were. They'd met Keisha. Dinner at a neutral restaurant. It had been awkward. His mother asking polite but invasive questions, his father trying too hard to seem accepting. But they'd been civil. Respectful even. She's not what we expected, his mother had said afterward. But we can see she makes you happy. It wasn't love. But it wasn't rejection either. Progress. Keisha appeared with 3 hot chocolates, 1 for Jaden, 2 for them. Your son just told me everyone knows I'm going to propose, Ethan said. Did he now? Keisha gave Jaden a look. What? It's true. Baby, some things are supposed to be surprises. But I'm good at keeping secrets. I didn't tell anyone about the ring. Ethan's eyes went wide. How do you know about the ring? I saw it in your jacket pocket last week when you came over. It's very pretty. Mama's going to love it. Keisha was trying not to laugh. Jaden Marcus Williams. What? I'm just being honest. You always say honesty is important. Ethan put his head in his hands. His carefully planned proposal, ruined by a 5-year-old with excellent observation skills. Keisha sat down next to him, still smiling. So, there's a ring? There was going to be a romantic proposal. I had a whole plan. What was the plan? Take you to the pier where we first talked. At sunset, Jaden would be there with a sign that said, "Will you marry my best friend?" And I'd get down on one knee and, he stopped. This is not how it was supposed to go. Life rarely goes how it's supposed to go, Keisha said. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. Jaden tugged on Ethan's sleeve. You should just ask her now. She's going to say yes. I know she will. How do you know? Because she smiles the special smile when you're around. The one that means love. Ethan looked at Keisha. She was crying, happy tears, the kind that made her eyes bright and beautiful. You want to do this here? He asked. In a coffee shop? With your son as the witness? This is where we came on our first date. Where Jaden met you for the first time. Where we started building this. She gestured between them. Seems perfect to me. Ethan's head jerked. His hand flew up. He didn't apologize. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small box. Opened it. Inside was a simple silver band with 3 small stones. 1 blue, 1 green, 1 yellow. The blue is sapphire, Ethan said. For Jaden, his birthstone. The green is emerald, for you, your birthstone. The yellow is citron, for me, my birthstone. 3 stones. 1 family. Keisha's hand covered her mouth. Keisha Williams, Ethan continued. You saw me when I was invisible. You stayed when I expected you to run. You taught me that I'm worthy of love exactly as I am. You let me be part of your life, part of Jaden's life, part of something real and beautiful and worth fighting for. People in the coffee shop were starting to notice. Pulling out phones. Watching. I love you. I love your strength and your kindness and your brutal honesty. I love how you make me want to be braver. How you challenge me to stop hiding. How you see me completely and choose me anyway. Jaden was bouncing in his seat. Ask her. Ask her. Jaden, if your mama says yes, can I be your dad? Really and truly. Jaden's eyes filled with tears. He'd never cried in front of Ethan before. Really? Really? Then yes. Yes, you can be my dad. Ethan looked back at Keisha. Will you marry me? She was sobbing now. Happy, ugly crying. Yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes. He slid the ring on her finger. She pulled him up and kissed him. The whole coffee shop erupted in applause. Jaden threw himself at both of them. We're a real family now. We need to tell Grandma and Uncle T and Grandpa Warren and... We will, baby, Keisha said. We'll tell everyone. They sat back down, all 3 of them squished together at the small table. Keisha couldn't stop looking at the ring. Jaden couldn't stop talking about the wedding he'd already planned in his head. The dinosaurs are going to be the decorations, right? Ethan's phone buzzed. A text from Terrence. Someone just posted a video of your proposal online. You're going viral, my guy. Also, congratulations. Then his mother, Mrs. Wu, just sent me a video. You proposed in a coffee shop? Not very traditional. But congratulations. We're happy for you. Then his father. Welcome to the family officially, Keisha and Jaden. Looking forward to the wedding. We're trending, Ethan said, showing them the video. Already 50,000 views. Great. Now everyone's going to see me ugly crying, Keisha said. You're beautiful when you cry. You're legally required to say that now. You're my fiancé. Fiancé. I like the sound of that. They sat there for another hour, making plans, answering congratulatory texts, watching the video spread across social media. This is insane, Keisha said. People are commenting about how beautiful the ring is. How sweet Jaden is. How we're #relationship goals. We are goals, Jaden said seriously. Uncle T told me. Around them, the coffee shop continued its Saturday morning routine. But at their table, everything had changed. 6 months later, they stood on the pier where they'd had their first real conversation. The same pier where Ethan had broken down after his disastrous date. Where everything had started. It was small wedding. 40 people. Regina, Terrence and Aisha, Ethan's parents, Keisha's extended family, a few close friends. Jaden stood between them as the ring bearer, wearing a tiny suit and holding a pillow with both rings tied to it with ribbon. Dr. Patel had offered to officiate. She'd gotten ordained online specifically for this. I've watched you both grow so much, she'd said. It would be an honor. Ethan wore a dark suit. Keisha wore a simple white dress. No elaborate ceremony. No fancy decorations. Just them, their people, and the San Francisco Bay as their backdrop. We're gathered here today, Dr. Patel began, to witness something beautiful. Not just the joining of two people, but the creation of a family. Ethan, Keisha, and Jaden, 3 individuals choosing to become one unit. Ethan's head jerked during the vows. He didn't apologize. Keisha squeezed his hand. Ethan, Dr. Patel said. Your vows. He'd written them down, afraid he'd forget. Pulled out a crumpled paper from his pocket. Keisha, a year and a half ago, I was sitting in a restaurant feeling like the most broken person in the world. And then you saw me. You didn't see my Tourette's. You didn't see a problem. You just saw me. And you decided I was worth defending. His voice cracked. Jaden reached up and patted his arm. You taught me that love isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. Being honest. Being brave enough to stay even when you're scared. You taught me that I'm worthy exactly as I am, tics and all. I promise to show up for you every day. To be your partner, not your project. To support your dreams, even when mine are falling apart. To be the father Jaden deserves. To build a life with you that's messy and complicated and absolutely worth it. Keisha was crying. He was crying. Half the guests were crying. And Jaden, Ethan turned to the boy. I promise to be your dad. Not just in name, but in action. To show up for every dinosaur presentation, every school event, every moment you need me. I promise to love you exactly as you are always. Jaden threw his arms around Ethan's waist. I love you, Dad. Dad. The word hit Ethan like a freight train. In the best way possible. Dr. Patel cleared her throat. Keisha, your vows? Keisha didn't have them written down. She spoke from her heart. Ethan, when I met you, I was drowning. Working 2 jobs, raising Jaden alone. Convinced that I'd never have time or energy for love. And then you showed up. And you didn't ask me to make room for you. You just fit into the spaces I already had. You see my struggles not as problems to fix, but as proof that I'm strong. You treat my son like he's yours. You make me laugh when I'm too tired to smile. You remind me that I'm allowed to want things for myself, not just for everyone else. I promise to be patient with you when you're struggling. To celebrate your wins, even the small ones. To never make you feel like your Tourette's is something you need to apologize for. To build a home where you can be completely yourself. And I promise to let you love me. To let you carry some of the weight. To trust that you're not going to leave when things get hard. They exchanged rings. Simple silver bands that matched the engagement ring. By the power vested in me, Dr. Patel said, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Ethan, you may kiss your bride. He did. Soft and sweet and full of promise. And, Dr. Patel added with a smile, I now pronounce you a family. All 3 of you. Jaden cheered. We're official. The reception was at Terrence's apartment. Bigger now, a 2-bedroom he shared with Aisha. They'd strung lights across the patio. Set up tables with food from everyone's favorite places. Chinese food from Ethan's parents' favorite restaurant, soul food from Regina's kitchen, pizza for Jaden and the other kids. Ethan's mother approached him during dinner. Your vows were beautiful. Thank you, Mom. I'm sorry I didn't understand before. About Keisha. About what you needed. You're understanding now. That's what matters. She nodded. Jaden called you Dad. How does that feel? Terrifying. Amazing. Right. You'll be a good father. Better than we were. You were good parents. You just loved me the way you knew how. We're learning better ways. For when you have more children. Ethan blinked. More children. His mother smiled. Keisha is young. You're young. These things happen. Mom. I'm just saying. We'd love to be grandparents. Really grandparents. To more than just Jaden. She walked away, leaving Ethan stunned. Keisha appeared at his elbow. What did your mom say? You look shell-shocked. She asked when we're having more kids. Keisha laughed. We've been married for 3 hours. I know. That's what I wait. Do you want more kids? Maybe someday. If we're ready. If our finances are stable. If. He kissed her. Someday sounds perfect. They danced. Not well, neither of them were dancers. But they swayed to old R&B while Jaden ran around with his cousins, and the fog rolled in from the bay. Terrence gave a toast. To my sister, who's the strongest person I know. And to Ethan, who's brave enough to love her. May you always choose each other, especially when it's hard. Regina gave a toast. To family. Not just the one you're born into, but the one you choose. Welcome to the family, Ethan. We're glad you stayed. Even Ethan's father stood up. I don't do speeches. But I want to say, we're proud of you, son. Not because you did what we wanted, but because you did what was right for you. That takes courage. We see that now. As the sun set and the party continued, Ethan found himself on the patio with Keisha, watching Jaden teach his younger cousins about dinosaurs. Can you believe this is our life? Keisha asked. Sometimes I think I'm going to wake up and it'll all be a dream. If it's a dream, I don't want to wake up. His head jerked. His hand flew up. She leaned against him anyway. You know what I was thinking about today, she said. What? That night in the restaurant. When Madison called you defective. When I thought you were just another broken person in a city full of broken people. And now I know the truth. You were never broken. None of us are. We're just complicated. Human. Real. Real is better than perfect. Real is the only thing that matters. They stood there as the party continued around them, watching their son, explain to a skeptical 5-year-old why velociraptors were actually smaller than movies made them seem. I love you, Ethan said. I love you too. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for staying. The clinic was bright and cheerful, filled with children's laughter and the smell of hand sanitizer. Keisha adjusted her badge, Keisha Rivera, RN pediatric nurse, and smiled at the mother checking in her daughter. The doctor will be with you in just a few minutes, she said. She'd graduated nursing school last year. Top of her class. Had gotten a job immediately at a children's clinic in the Mission. It paid better than waitressing ever had. She still got tired, but it was the good kind of tired, the kind that came from meaningful work. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ethan, emergency. Jaden's school called. Can you go? Her heart jumped. What happened? Is he okay? He's fine. Just fighting. Again. Keisha sighed. Jaden was 8 now, in 3rd grade, and had inherited both his parents' stubbornness and his sense of justice. Which meant he kept getting in fights defending other kids. I'll go, she typed. But we need to talk to him about using his words. Agreed. Love you. Love you too. She spoke to her supervisor, explained the situation. They were understanding, one of the benefits of working at a family-friendly clinic. At Jaden's school, she found him in the principal's office with a bloody nose and a defiant expression. Jaden Marcus Rivera, she said. What happened? Tyler was making fun of Marcus because he has tics. Said he was possessed or something. So I pushed him. Of course. Marcus was a new student. He had Tourette syndrome. Jaden had immediately adopted him as a best friend. Baby, you can't hit people. I didn't hit him. I pushed him. There's a difference. The principal, Mrs. Rodriguez, was trying not to smile. Jaden has a good heart. But violence isn't the answer, even when defending a friend. They talked through it. Consequences, 1 day in school suspension. Apology to Tyler. Conversation about better ways to handle bullies. Can Marcus come over this weekend? Jaden asked on the drive home. Dad said he'd teach us both how to code. And Marcus wants to meet Grandpa Warren because he heard he's really rich. Yes to Marcus visiting. No to asking Grandpa Warren about his money. But I'm curious. You're always curious. At home, Ethan was in his office. The 2nd bedroom they'd converted when they'd moved to a bigger apartment last year. He was on a video call, but waved when he saw them. My partner just arrived, he said to the person on screen. Can we continue this tomorrow? He ended the call and came out. How bad was it? 1 day suspension. He pushed a kid who was bullying Marcus. Ethan knelt down to Jaden's level. Hey buddy, we need to talk about this. I know, I shouldn't have pushed him. But Dad, he was being really mean. And Marcus was crying. I understand. And I'm proud of you for defending your friend. But there are better ways to do it. Ways that don't get you suspended. Like what? Like talking to a teacher. Like standing between them and using your words. Like helping Marcus understand that bullies are just scared people who don't know how to ask for help. That's what you do with your tics, right? You don't let bullies make you feel bad. Exactly. Okay, I'll try better next time. After Jaden went to play in his room, Keisha collapsed on the couch. Ethan sat next to her. Long day, he asked. The longest. You. I signed 2 new clients. Both want accessibility apps. Business is good. That's amazing. His company had grown steadily. 5 employees now, all people with disabilities. They'd built apps for communication, mobility, sensory processing. Won awards. been featured in tech magazines. We've been successful beyond my wildest dreams, Ethan had told a reporter last month. But it's not about the success. It's about creating tools that help people like me live fuller lives. That's what matters. Speaking of full lives, Keisha said, I have news. Good news or bad news? Depends on your perspective. Keisha. She pulled out a small stick from her purse. 2 pink lines. Ethan stared at it. You're pregnant. 8 weeks. We're having a baby? We're having a baby. He pulled her close. His head jerked against her shoulder. How do you feel about it? Scared. Excited. Exhausted already, and I'm only 2 months along. We can do this. I know we can. But it's going to be hard. Daycare costs, sleepless nights, all of it. We've done hard before. We're good at hard. Jaden appeared in the doorway. Are you guys okay? You're hugging a lot. Come here, buddy, Ethan said. We have something to tell you. Jaden climbed onto the couch between them. What? How would you feel about being a big brother? Keisha asked. His eyes went wide. Really? Really, really? Really, really? Yes. Can it be a boy? I want a brother. We can share my dinosaurs and... We don't get to choose, Ethan said. It'll be what it'll be. That's okay. I'll love them anyway. When do they get here? 7 more months. That's so long. How am I supposed to wait? They laughed. All 3 of them, tangled together on the couch. Later that night, after Jaden was asleep, Ethan and Keisha lay in bed, her head on his chest. You know what I was thinking about? She said. What? That night at Belmont's. When you were at your lowest. When I made that gesture and didn't know it would change both our lives. Best decision you ever made. Second best. First best was saying yes when you proposed. Fair point. His phone buzzed. A text from his mother. Sunday dinner? We want to celebrate the baby news. And your father wants to teach Jaden to play chess. Ethan showed Keisha. What do you think? I think we go. We celebrate. We let them be grandparents. Even though my mom will probably comment on your pregnancy weight. Even though. Because she's trying. They're both trying. It was true. His parents had come so far. They still sometimes said the wrong thing, still sometimes disappointed him. But they showed up. They loved Jaden. They respected his choices. We have a good life, Ethan said. We have a real life. Is there a difference? Real includes the hard parts. The tics, the exhaustion, the fights, the mistakes. Good would be perfect. Real is better than perfect. He pulled her closer. I love our real life. Me too. Outside, the city hummed. Inside, their family slept, Jaden in his room surrounded by dinosaurs, a baby growing in Keisha's belly, 2 people who'd found each other in the wreckage and built something beautiful. Not perfect. Never perfect. But real. And honest. And absolutely worth every moment of the fight.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.